Hey guys, welcome back. This is now part 13 of the TBR Diaries. And this is just a little series where I'm kind of taking it three, four books at a time. But my physical TBR has gotten ridiculous and out of control. And in my attempts to organize it, I thought that I would share the books with you. Um, and maybe get some feedback and or some nudges. Hey, you should read this one, or maybe keep ignoring that one. um but yeah, so we're up to the 13th episode of this. As a reminder, here is what my physical TBR looks like. And this isn't even all of it because it extends around the corner to a second bookcase that is almost full as well. Um, yeah, so let's just jump right into this. There's four books I want to talk about today. Um, the first two are a duet, and they're it's called the Man in Charge duet. And we've got the first book, which is Man in Charge, and then the second book, which is Man in Love. Um, and these are by Laurelyn Page. And I got the duet as a blind date with a book box that I did. And they're supposed to be very spicy. But we have our FMC. I'm not sure what her name is, but basically, I guess her boss takes off to find herself. And so that kind of opens up an opportunity for our FMC to kind of immerse herself in the Sebastian's world, who is like the wealthy family. So even though she doesn't really fit in, she's going to fake it and take this opportunity. Then we have our MMC. I believe his name is Scott. Yeah, but he's the Playboy heir to the Sebastian family's wealth. And yeah, so this duet just kind of follows their journey. Other than the fact that it's supposed to be really spicy and it's a billionaire romance, I know nothing else about this. Um, so yeah, I probably one of the reasons why I've kind of not been gravitating towards this one is I tend to prefer fantasy romances or paranormal romance over contemporary. And so I tend not to gravitate towards these as much. And so I just have to make a concentrated effort to read these at some point. Um, but they sound interesting. We'll see. So the next book I want to talk about is Unchain Me, and this is by C.A. Grieco. I think is how you pronounce that properly. I'm not 100% sure, so I apologize if I messed that up. Um, this is a cowboy romance, and it is the second book in the Magnolia Falls Ranch series. This book follows our FMC, who is Trish, and she, after an abusive situation with her partner, and he leaves her basically on the kitchen floor to die. So Trish finally picks herself up, and her best friend moves with her across the country to a little bumfuck town in Colorado. Um, Away now that she's been away from like the years and years of abuse, she starts to realize, right, how much of herself that she had kind of lost in that relationship. And so she begins kind of this long journey of trying to find herself again, right? Rediscover who she was. And then we've got our MMC, who's Leighton, and he is one of the cowboys that works on his best friend's ranch. And he has spent the last year balancing working on his friend's ranch with his mom's battle with cancer. And so this story follows them and kind of their relationship. Um, I enjoyed the first book, and this is one of the series that I want to try to finish in 2025. Um, it's also the first cowboy romance that I read, and it wasn't bad. Not a big cowboy fan, uh, but cowboy romances aren't bad. So I liked it. It was good. And I definitely want to get to the second one. So this, like I said, this is definitely on my list to read this year. So yeah, that's the second book, third book, second series that I wanted to talk about. All right. And the last book that I want to talk about today is Like Water for Chocolate. And this is a novel in monthly installments with recipes, romances, and home remedies. Um, I don't really know anything about this book other than it's a romance. I know they made a movie out of it. Never saw the movie. But it sounds like a really interesting way to tell a story. Um, and food, I mean, I'm Southern, so in the Southern US, food and coming together and recipes and cooking and all of that is a big part of our culture. So I know in a lot of cultures, right, a lot of things revolve around food. So I think this is kind of a really cool way to tell a story is through the recipes and the preparation of the food and the meals itself and that kind of stuff. So I'm really interested to read this one. I just haven't gotten around to it. I think I've said this before. I don't know if in earlier videos that I tend to like. I think I said it in this one too. I tend to like fantasy romance and paranormal romance more than contemporary romance. So I tend not to pick these books right away. But it does sound good. And I can't remember if this was one that somebody said was going to make me cry or if this was one where I was looking to diversify um, what I was reading. So I can't remember where I got this recommendation from. But yeah, I'll get to it one day. So those are the 4 books, 3 series that I wanted to talk to you about today. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these, what you think, if I should move any of them up or down the TBR. All right.